Ryan Day is very picky when it comes to who he chooses to represent Ohio State at the Big Ten Media Days, which is why it was no surprise when it was announced that Cade Stover, JT Tuimoloau, and Marvin Harrison Jr. would represent Ohio State at the annual event.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes for the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is Thursday, July 13th in the year 2023, and I want to thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen or first watch of every single day. During today's episode, we will discuss who the next three representatives would have been if I was deciding who represent Ohio State at Big Ten Media Days, and we go over who I believe should wear the Block O jersey in 2023. But first, the annual event, the Big Ten Media Days, is a great time of year for the 14 schools that make up the Big Ten Conference to come together to kick off the upcoming season. It's in 2 weeks, and this is going to be a great time for Ryan Day to represent Ohio State, to discuss things coming up in the upcoming season, to answer any questions about maybe conference realignment, the upcoming team, who QB1 might be, and a whole lot more. But it's also a great time for players such as Marvin Harrison Jr. and others to represent Ohio State and to show off what Ohio State has on the football roster in the upcoming season. It's always fun to be at Big Ten Media Days and to see and to discuss what's going to come up next. Now, there will be questions coming up at Big Ten Media Days in regards to USC and UCLA joining the conference, and I would guess there's going to be a writer or two or three that ask maybe Harrison Jr. or Stover or Tuimoloau, what do you think about playing USC or UCLA every year? What do you think about the new playoff being expanded? If you had your ideal NIL deal, who would it go to? These are all things that are expected. And at the same time, you also want to have players that just bleed the school, bleed the program. They're great reps for what you want when you think about someone that could go out into the street and could be exactly what you want a Buckeye player to be, someone that could show you what it means to be on the roster at Ohio State. You want somebody there at Big Ten Media Days because you're not only there walking around, you get an hour podium session where media members can come in and ask you questions, maybe 45 minutes or an hour. It's a long time to sit at a table and to answer questions. But also, Ohio State's players normally get airtime on the Big Ten Network, as the Big Ten Network will be at the event at Lucas Oil Stadium, broadcasting live during the event. And I know Ryan Day generally gets time on the network and the Ohio State players as well. So you think about all of those things and exactly what it is that Big Ten Media Days represents, which is why it's a great time period for you to pick the ideal players, the ideal athletes to represent you during this annual event. Cade Stover, JT Tuimoloau, Marvin Harrison Jr., to me, they scream not only future NFL talent, but also guys that represent Ohio State very, very well. Also, when you add in the fact that they're really talented, I mean, Cade Stover is probably going to be at best a day 2 pick, probably round 3, probably round 4. Round 5 is probably his sweet spot, unless he just plays out of his mind in 2023. That's probably where he's going to get drafted in the upcoming season. Also, when it comes to Marvin Harrison Jr. and Tuimoloau, Harrison Jr. was a household name. Well, Harrison was before he even stepped on the field at Ohio State during his freshman campaign. And then last year, what he did on the football field. The Penn State game still blows my mind because I believe he had 10 catches. All of them were for first downs, 0 touchdowns. But Mr. Reliable, that's Harrison Jr. A talent that's hard to stop, that's Harrison Jr. And the Tuimoloau, by some, is saying he's a future top 10 pick. He's someone that you want representing you as well. So you have guys that hit different boxes. Oh, check this box. Check this box. First round talent. Oh, yeah, great. Stroud represented Ohio State, and Jigba was there as well. I think Ronnie Hickman was there a year ago. So you're getting guys that are future NFL talents. Now, people thought Hickman was going to be a better talent, a better prospect than what he turned out to be at the time prior to the season. But Hickman, been there for a long time. Stover, been there for a long time. Stroud, QB1. Harrison Jr., offensive force on offense. And then you get other players in Jigba. If he didn't get hurt, you really thinking Jigba is going to be a guy that is possibly a top 5 pick if he's healthy and playing the ways that he plays the football. All 3 of these guys, they're guys that I want in my corner. All 3 of these guys, they are guys that I want with me in the trenches. Tuimoloau, wow, my goodness. And I can't wait to hear my guy, Ryan Roberts, my favorite NFL draft analyst here on the show once again. I cannot wait to hear what Ryan has to say about Tuimoloau. We heard him about Harrison Jr. and Cade Stover. We have not gone to the defensive side yet with our summer scouting, getting a preseason NFL draft conversation about draft-eligible Buckeyes. We have not heard yet what Ryan has to say about Tuimoloau and a Jack Sawyer and a Eichenberg and a Chambers and a Proctor and a Burke and a Ransom and all these guys that are going to be starters for Ohio State. I'm interested to hear what Ryan has to say on this show. I've heard him on other shows, but on this show in regards to Tuimoloau. Because as I see him taking a next step, Ryan's taking this from an NFL draft perspective and point of view, and Ryan's eyes will tell him one thing about how the draft and NFL circles and executives will view Tuimoloau. Well, that also goes into why he is a guy you want here this year. He might not be a top 10 pick next year. I do believe he's going to be a guy that is going to be a force for Ohio State in the upcoming season. Just imagine with me for a second. Talk all about Harrison Jr., all about Stover. Just imagine if Tuimoloau, I normally don't stutter when I say his name. Today is going to be a special day. Tuimoloau is a player that when you look at him and see him play, imagine if we got multiple games like what we got when the Buckeyes played Penn State a year ago. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to get all the turnovers, but disrupting plays over and over and over and over again. Just imagine if you got that and say Notre Dame game, big game, Tuimoloau comes in and wreaks havoc. Let's just say you get it Wisconsin. Let's just say you get it Penn State again. Let's say you get it against the team up north. Let's say you get it against Minnesota. Let's say you get it against Indiana week 1. Now, if he's a game wrecker multiple times, and I am not saying turnovers or things that always show up in the stat sheet. Some of them will, a lot of them will, but also a lot of what he does will not show up in the stat sheet. Which is why when it comes to Tuimoloau representing Ohio State, yes, he bleeds Ohio State through and through, but also he's the kind of talent that you want representing your school at this big event. I couldn't think of 3 better Buckeyes to represent Ohio State at the Big Ten Media Days than Cade Stover, JT Tuimoloau, and Marvin Harrison Jr. You get a skill player, you get a guy on defense, and you get a guy in the trenches, somewhat in the trenches, still kind of a skill player as well, in Stover, that represent what Ohio State wants players to be in the public. Who would be next on my list of players to represent Ohio State at the Big Ten Media Days? We'll go over that next here on Locked On Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Take your first swing at betting MLB on FanDuel and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting on everything from the money line to the over-under to who you think is going to hit the first home run. All on an app that's safe, secure, and you'll love this next part. It's super easy to use. There's no better place to bet on Major League Baseball than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So sign up today and visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get up to $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/LockedOn. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. Thanks for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every single day. Now it's a perfect time to subscribe to Locked On Buckeyes so you don't miss a beat. Subscribe on Apple or Spotify or the Odyssey app or even on YouTube. If you're an Apple or Spotify listener, leave a 5-star rating with a comment as well. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button on this video, and also leave a comment on this video as well to keep the conversation going. Locked On Buckeyes is a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Cade Stover, JT Tuimoloau, Marvin Harrison Jr. 3 Buckeyes that you know I'm high on, 3 Buckeyes that you're probably high on as well, and 3 guys that are ideal candidates to represent Ohio State at this annual event. Well, who would be the next 3? And I'll give a +1 as well in this next segment as far as who would be the next guys on my list to represent Ohio State at this event. The first one is going to go offense and defense. Not number 1 in this list on my order, but I'll go through that here in a second. Emeka Egbuka. I think on offense, you have a few guys that could fit this mold. You have a Donovan Jackson and Matthew Jones will be multi-year starters, guys that will probably get drafted in the upcoming NFL draft. My guy Ryan Roberts is high on both of them. Had him on the show earlier this week discussing the draft prospects that they are before the season starts. But you got Matthew Jones, you got Donovan Jackson, you got Travion Henderson, Mayan Williams, but at the same time, Henderson was hurt a year ago. That might bring some questions to him at media days that he might not want to answer. Buckeyes will probably want to shield him from those types of conversations. Mayan Williams, once again, hurt a year ago, and I don't know if he's going to be a consistent starter for Ohio State. So you kind of want to push him back and hold him there. Also, Matthew Jones and Donovan Jackson, are they the best, personalities for this event? Because you do want to have a little bit of a personality there speaking to the media, someone that's going to answer questions and have a little bit of something to say. Not sure if that's Jackson or Jones. Not saying that it's not, but sometimes you get more skilled players and more guys that are more known at these events than offensive linemen, just being honest. But those are 2 guys there. Julian Fleming been there for a while, but once again, not number 1 or number 2 in the receiver room. So that's not going to be one. Now, Ryan Day could have easily said Kyle McCord or Devin Brown or both of you. That would have been a fun thing. Devin Brown, Kyle McCord, both of you go to Big Ten Media Days. Now, it would be fun to me to see that and to hear that, but also, one of them's not going to start, and 2, you're going to open up a lot of reporters to try to find some very creative ways to figure out who QB1 is at that point in time. Now, Ryan Day is going to get asked that question. I guarantee Harrison Jr., Tuimoloau, and Stover will as well. But if you have both quarterbacks there at this event, ultimately, it might not go as planned. So just kind of shield things so things don't go awry when you discuss these topics when you're there at this event. So Emeka Egbuka to me is another one, possibly a future first round pick. Could be top 15 pick. I don't think it'll be top 10, but top 15 pick, top 20 pick. That's probably where Egbuka will go in the upcoming NFL draft. Also, he is one that if you look at any other school of the country, it's probably a number 1 receiver. Alabama, yeah. Georgia, yeah. USC, yeah. Texas, Oklahoma. Well, Oklahoma's not what it used to be. But yeah, he is a future. He would be a number 1 receiver at most places. This happens to be that he is playing alongside Marvin Harrison Jr., who is not normal. He is not a normal talent. And so you have to think about those things as well. But Emeka Egbuka to me is like offensive guy. The next guy up is someone that you want to send that doesn't have a whole lot of questions about their play or questions about the upcoming season, who might start. Egbuka is that. Remember, McCord and Brown wouldn't send him. Harrison and Williams, yes, they could represent Ohio State, but based off injuries from a year ago, would not send them. Julian Fleming, Matthew Jones, Donovan Jackson, yes, but I think Egbuka is the next best option on offense to represent Ohio State at this event. Not coming up next, not going anywhere yet, but there are 2 more guys. The next 2 are on defense. And this next one was maybe a little tricky. I want to say Tommy Eichenberg, but Ike really doesn't talk. So as much of a guy, as good of a talent as he is, Eichenberg he's not the best personality. And I think at this event, he would be cool. He would smile a little bit. He would answer questions from the media. But I've heard Bobby Carpenter talk about Tommy Eichenberg, and Eichenberg's a good guy, really good player, really good person. But I don't know if he's the best person for this type of event. So I would say probably still Chambers. I don't think he's the number one linebacker in the room right now. He might be the better pro prospect at the end of the season, but I still would probably say still Chambers, personality-wise, talk a little bit better with the media, but like not knocking Eichenberg himself, just his personality might not be the best for this event. Still Chambers gets my vote. But last but not least, and I was up between two, the both defensive backs, and no one of them is not Denzel Burke. I was up between Joshua Proctor and Lathan Ransom. I'm still kind of up in the air about Proctor. I know he'll probably start week 1. I am still up in the air about where if he'll be a consistent starter for Ohio State in the fall. One thing Ryan Roberts always says about Proctor is Proctor's still there, kind of joking a little bit. Kind of, you guys know basketball, college basketball, the guy Perry Ellis. It seemed like he was there forever. It seemed like he was never going anywhere. And Perry Ellis is a person that, really good basketball player, but buddy, he was there forever. And another year, and another year, and another year, and another year. And I'm like, how many years of eligibility does Perry Ellis have at Kansas? Similar thing to Proctor. Now, Proctor's had injuries, and he's been under a couple coaches. And remember the big play he made at the end of the 2019 Big Ten Championship game where he just obliterated Wisconsin's quarterback? That was a fun one to watch and fun one to see, but he's still here. I think Ransom is another guy you want to just get in front of people and represent the school. Ransom's the guy. So I know I went through numerous players. Jack Sawyer, no, not on my list. Michael Hall Jr., Tyleik Williams, no, not on my list there. But I got the next 3 up here. Emeka Egbuka, Steel Chambers, and Lathan Ransom. What are your 3? 4th would have easily been Tommy Eichenberg. That's why I said 3 plus 1. But who are your next 3 to represent Ohio State at this massive event? Leave a comment in the comment section on this video. Continue the conversation outside of the space of today's show as well. Those are my 3 plus 1. What are yours? I love reading what you guys have to say about who should represent Ohio State at Big Ten Media Days and who the next guys on your list would be. With all that in mind, my guess is one of the players that is representing Ohio State or would be next on my list to represent Ohio State should represent Ohio State in the wearing of the Block O jersey in 2023. What is a Block O jersey? Who do I think should wear it? We'll answer both questions next here on Locked On Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by Billiards Plus. Billiards Plus has the best selection of pool tables, game tables, shuffleboard tables, and more, and the best service in Central Ohio. Billiards Plus also can set you up with a brand new top-of-the-line grill that will last for generations. We all know how hard it is with the supply chain issues this year and getting certain things shipped on time. So when it comes to ordering that one big gift for someone you love, check out Billiards Plus. They have exactly what you are looking for. Billiards Plus carries the best pool tables from Brunswick, Alhassan, Canada, Billiards, and more. Plus, top-of-the-line grills from PK, Napoleon, Memphis, and La Griddle. That will be the last grill you own. Seriously, these grills stand the test of time. No matter the season, Billiards Plus has you covered for all your indoor and outdoor entertainment needs. Visit their showroom on Dublin Central Drive in Dublin. Check them out at billiards-plus.com. Billiards Plus, family owned and operated for generations. Thanks for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every single day. I have been looking forward to discussing this very next topic in depth for quite a while. I mentioned it a little bit, but I was not sure if what I thought would be a player that would be at Big Ten Media Days, because I know how big this deal is to the teams and kind of the kickoff to the upcoming season. But Harrison Jr., Tuimoloau, Stover, 3 great athletes, 3 really good young men from everything that I hear. And I believe one of these 3 should wear the Block O jersey for Ohio State in 2023. This is a tradition that started a few years ago under Ryan Day, and the Block O jersey is something that was inspired by Bill Willis. Now, you may say, who in the world is Bill Willis? How does he have a tie to the Ohio State University? He was a defensive end whose career spanned from 1942 to 1944. Willis was an All-American and national champion during his time with the Buckeyes. He later went on to break the color barrier in the National Football League as a member of the Cleveland Browns and was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame as well as the College Football Hall of Fame as well. His number 99 jersey is retired at Ohio State, and he stood for toughness, accountability, and the highest of character. These are all values that the current day Buckeyes strive for every day. I'm reading that directly from OhioStateBuckeyes.com. And I know when Ryan Day kind of emphasized this, the block O jersey and wearing it and what it means, a lot of people had speculation about who it was going to go to. Would it go to this player? Offense, great. Quarterback, cool. That makes sense. Would it go to this player? Defense, been there for a long time. Solid player. Cool. That makes sense. Would it go to a guy who might not go to the NFL, but is exactly what you want in a Buckeye? Cool. That would make sense as well if there was a player that fit that description. A few players that have worn this jersey received this honor. Jonathan Cooper Ward, I believe, was a 2020 season. 2021, it was there. Mumford. 2022, a year ago, was Cam Babb. And this year, I believe the player that should wear the block O jersey is Cade Stover. Now, you may say J3 Mumford cannot wear 0 as an offensive lineman. Now, he did wear block O, the 0 jersey, block O jersey, the 0 jersey during warmups, and even in some of his warm-up shirts and hoodies had the 0 on it because it meant so much, and that was the time for him to wear that number and to show that he would receive that honor. Cooper wore 0 during his final year at Ohio State, and Cameron Babb did a year ago. Cade Stover currently wears number 8, has previously worn number 16, and I believe he's going to wear number 0 this year. I understand maybe a tie to a certain number, but this type of honor, man, it doesn't come lightly. And when you think about Ohio State, even on their website, and I think this is great, players strive for and want to stand for toughness, accountability, and the highest of character. It seems like everything I've heard when people describe what kind of player in person Cade Stover is. Solid guy. A guy I want in my quarter. I joked a little bit ago about the next time I move, probably going to hire movers, and I want Cade Stover on that moving team. Now, maybe that's not what he wants to do, but he is a type of toughness and grit and grind. He has that in him that I want that kind of guy in my corner every single day. Yes, Harrison Jr., Abuka, those are some other guys that are there that could wear it, but I'm looking for longevity. Someone that's been there at the program for quite a long time. Overcome some adversity, been a team first kind of guy, and even in the toughness, Cade Stover went down in the game against Georgia, injury, and he's even coming back this year. He's fueled by the loss and his inability to finish the game due to an injury. Cade Stover is my kind of guy. Cade Stover block O jersey, he gets my vote. Who gets yours? Leave your comment in the comment section here on this video. Cade Stover is my vote to wear the block O jersey. That might be yours. That might not be yours. Let's open up a dialogue here on the YouTube. Guys, love being here with you. Love being a part of this show. We're done for the week. Remember, there's no Friday shows during the month of July. They'll return in the month of August. Subscribe to Locked On Buckeyes on Apple, Spotify, the Odyssey app, or even on the YouTube so you don't miss a beat. You can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. You can send all of your emails to jstevens317@gmail.com. This has been Locked On Buckeyes here on a Thursday. We'll see you next week.